Good day, everyone. This is Ma'am Jo, and again, welcome to another video lesson discussion in statistics. For today's topic, we will have sampling and sampling techniques. And these are the objectives of our topic. Okay, suppose a researcher intends to study the employment status of graduates of the program Bachelor in Secondary Education, major in Mathematics in the Philippines from 2010 to 2020. He wants to know the average duration it takes after graduation for the said teachers to secure a permanent position in the Department of Education. Given that problem, these are the questions that we and the researcher should take into consideration while conducting a research. First, would it be possible for the researcher to survey 100% of the group? Next, what are the possible obstacles that the researcher would face as he goes along the research? And lastly, is it valid to select representatives from the group to answer the survey? So remember that the study is to determine how long will it take for a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Education, major in Mathematics, to find a job in the DepEd. And your respondents covers those who graduated from 2010 to 2020, so 10 years. So you have to gather all the information from those graduates or from those respondents. Ask them one by one how long it took them to secure a job in the DepEd. So do you think he can survey or get the information easily? Okay. So researchers will find it difficult because it will take a lot of time, money, and effort to gather all the information considering that you have a large respondents, okay? And your respondents is from 2010 to 2020. BSE, major in mathematics in the whole Philippines. So imagine that, okay? How many students were there who graduated from 2010 to 2020, which majors in BSE? BSE major in math. So, taking a look at that, again, it will be impractical to gather those information, okay, because you have a large respondents. So, this is where sampling comes in. Okay, so researchers use sampling if taking a census of the entire population is impractical again because it will take a lot of time, money, and effort for you to gather the information. So that's why we will be having sampling techniques for you to find a representative or a sample from the population. So what is a sampling? So it is a process in which we use statistical analysis to predetermine a number of observations or sample taken from a larger population. That means it is a process or technique wherein you're going to select a representative sample from an entire population. So we know that a sample is a representation or a portion of the population. So that process of selecting your sample from the population is called sampling. These are the illustrations in selecting your sample from a population. Sampling is categorized into two. First, we have the non-probability or the non-random sampling, and the other one is the probability or random sampling. In non-probability, it involves a non-random selection based on convenience or other criteria which allows you to easily collect initial data. While in probability sampling, it involves random selection, allowing you to make statistical inferences about the whole group. So, meaning, in non-probability sampling, not everyone in the population will be given the chance to be selected. Okay? While in probability sampling, each population element has a known or a non-zero chance of being chosen for the sample. Non-zero means there is a chance, okay? It is, there is, even though there is a little chance, still there is a chance for them to be selected. Okay, all of the elements in the population will be included in the selection process. Unlike in the non-probability sampling, not everyone will be given the chance or will be included in the selection process. So this is how non-random and random sampling differ from one another. I hope that is clear. Okay, so this time let's have the different types of sampling techniques. Okay, for the non-probability sampling, we have five sampling techniques. We have the convenience sampling, voluntary sampling, purposive sampling, photo sampling, and snowball or referral sampling. So let us differentiate one from the other. The first sampling techniques under the non-probability sampling is the convenience sampling. So it is a method used when the availability of sample is rare and also costly. So since it is rare and costly, so based on the convenience samples are selected. So a convenience sample simply includes the individuals who happens to be the most accessible to the researcher. So meaning they are available, they are close at hand, readily available, and convenient. So the choice of the sample items depends primarily on the judgment of the researcher. Most of the time, respondents are selected because they happen to be at the right place at the right time. Okay, so these are the advantages of a convenience sampling. So since they are readily available and convenient, so data collecting data is easily and quickly, okay, because they are readily available. Okay, so the method is inexpensive or low cost. And then you have fewer rules to follow. That means you don't have to have a qualification for the population or for the samples. You will select it based on your convenience based on the convenience of the researcher, and that's why it will make the research to be easily done. Okay, so convenience based on the availability and the convenience of the researcher and the sample data. Okay. Okay, these are the examples. Suppose 100 car owners are to be selected. So how can you get your data? So you can collect the data from the LTO or the RTO's office. So the list of all car owners, and then you can make a selection of 100 from that to form the sample. So you don't have to go around asking who owns a car, but instead you just go to the land transportation office or the regional transportation office to get a list of those people who have a car or they are car owners. Other example is the use of students, for example, in the research conducted by most teachers. So instead of having other respondents, usually they use their students and members of social organization. Or you can get your information by mall intercept interviews without qualifying the respondents. That means you just stay in a mall and then randomly you select or you interview people that comes your way. Okay. So, or another one is people on the street interviews. Okay, so those are example of convenience sampling. They are readily available and you are doing it at your most convenient position or time. Okay. The next technique is voluntary sampling. This one is similar to convenience sampling because sample is mainly based on the ease of access. Meaning, sample involves only those who wants to participate in the sampling. So instead of the researcher choosing the participants and directly contacting them, people volunteer themselves. That's why a voluntary sample is made up of people who self-select into the survey. So self-select meaning they volunteer themselves. Okay, example, students at school who wish to express their opinions complete an online survey. So here, only those students or people who have a strong interest in the main topic of the survey will answer. So if they think and feel that they want to express their opinion, they will voluntarily answer the survey. Another example, A news show asked viewers to participate in an online poll. For example, the poll is, are you in favor of bringing back the ROTC or the mandatory military service for male and females? So the answer could be either A, yes, or B, no. And then you are asked to send it, text your answer and send it to, for example, 2366. So all the viewers who are all the viewers of that show could they can voluntarily send their answer through text, and after the show they will post the result of the survey. For example, at the end 30% answered yes and 70% answered no. So they are examples of voluntary sampling. They are not forced to answer, but they will be the one to give the answer. So the sample is chosen by the viewers, not by the survey administrator. So this is how a voluntary sampling differ from a convenience sampling. So in convenience, you select a sample because the researcher is convenient for it, or the sample is readily available and convenient. But in voluntary, you don't have to ask them to do so. Okay? Okay, the next one is purposive sampling. So this type of sampling involves the researcher using their judgment to select a sample that is most useful to the purpose of the research. Meaning, this is based on the intention or the purpose of the study. So therefore, only those elements will be selected from the population which suits the best for the purpose of the study. Example, you want to know more about the opinions and experiences of disabled students at your school. So what will be your sample? Okay, so you will only select those persons with disability. And if you want to gather varied range of data, you will select students with different support needs. Example, you can have a sample which is physically handicapped, or one that is has an hearing impaired, or one that is blind, and other physical disabilities. So the purpose is experiences of your disabled students, so your sample should come from them, okay, based on your purpose and your intention. So this one is called purpose. I hope that is clear. Okay, the next one is quota sampling. This type of sampling depends on some preset standard. Okay, so the elements are selected until each proportion of a certain type of data is obtained, or sufficient data in different categories is collected. Okay, the proportion of characteristics or traits in sample should be the same as the population. Okay, examples for quota sampling. If our population has 45% females and 55% males, then our sample should reflect the same percentage of male and females. So, they should have the same characteristic. Other example is from a population, you're going to select males above 40 years old, or an adult females below 30 years old. So you will just get a proportion or a percentage out of the population with the same trait or characteristic. Okay, the last one is the snowball sampling. This is also called network or chain referral sampling, or simply referral sampling. So in this technique, you're going to use, this one is used in situations where the population is completely unknown and rare. So your sample will be collected by referral. Okay, example of snowball sampling. So it is used in situations of highly sensitive topics, for example, topics on HIV, where people will not openly discuss and participate in surveys to share information about HIV. So how are you going to gather information? So therefore, we will first ask the help or from the first element, or two or more person. You're going to contact two or more person first who has a knowledge of someone who has an HIV, and then which we select out of the population, and then we will ask them to recommend or identify further persons or other elements who will fit the description of the sample needed. So this referral technique goes on and on, increasing the size of your population like a snowball. So you only have one, and then you contact two persons. This will be the source. Okay, they will refer someone until they refer another persons, and those three persons or other persons will refer another person who has the same cases. So the selection process is stopped when either no new people are identified or start to repeat the same person again and again. So pag same person na yung sinasabi nila, so the selection process is stopped. That's why it is snowball. So you will start from a small one or two person until you gather enough respondents. That ends our discussion for today. For the last part of this discussion, see the next video and kindly subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you.